We've all been there, feeling stuck in the grind, chasing that freedom we're aching to find. But what if the answer was clearer than you knew? With numbers and strategy, we'll walk you through. No more shame, no fear inside. We're turning pressure into power and fight. From paycheck to purpose, we rise above. This is your moment, it starts with self-love. Big, bold moves, abundant life. Fearlessly debt-free, we're doing it right. Cutting through the
Welcome to Big Bold Moves Abundant Life podcast, where I get to sit down with incredible people, hear their stories, and uncover what really looks like a life of purpose and abundance. So today I have the great pleasure of meeting with somebody new, which always makes these relaxed conversations so special. But today I get to introduce you to Jayme Martinez, and Jayme is the founder of Tranquil Oasis Spa, where she brings together results-driven skincare with a truly heart-centered approach to deeply care for others. Jayme, I am so thankful that you've decided to come on over and talk to me and let everybody know about you. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
What I love to do, Jayme, is to start with this question for Big Bold Moves Abundant Life. And I love to hear how people define the word abundance. So please tell me, how do you define the word abundance?
Wow, I think abundant just means full, like full of love, full of hope, and just full of feeling like you just have all the people surrounding you of support that you need, and that you have everything that you need to provide others with the same thing.
That's awesome. I love that definition. It's so unique and it's so interesting how so many people define that word differently. So great start. Really good. And kind of moving off into what you just said about how you define the word abundance, I know that what you like to talk about is protecting your joy. How does that really impact you personally, both in your life and, of course, in the work that you do at Tranquil Oasis Spa?
So it started actually when I got diagnosed with breast cancer. I ran into a friend of mine at Kingdom Business Alliance. He was the first person I saw after I got the phone call telling me that, yes, you are positive for breast cancer. And I didn't know what to do. Like, I was just at this moment of, what do I do? I had total faith. I kind of expected that call when I was going up for my final exams. I was going across the Skyview Bridge and I was having my conversation with God, as I often do. And I said, Lord, if this is my journey, use me as your vessel to bring more people to you and to bring people closer to you. And so I wasn't shocked at the news, but I also was shocked by the news. I wasn't expecting that phone call at 7:30 in the morning on my dad and my daughter's birthdays. So I ran into this friend of mine and I asked him, he does jewelry that you wear. He does bracelets with stones. And I said, do you have anything for healing? That's all I could get out of my mouth at the time. And he goes, for what? And he started rattling off all these different things. And he got to cancer. And I just nodded. And he goes, okay. And he said, the Lord is telling me to tell you, protect your joy. And because Satan is going to try to attack all of the fruits of the Spirit. And he can't do anything about the love of Christ that has been sealed for you, but he will come after your joy. And if he can take your joy, it will be easy for him to take the other fruits of the Spirit. So that has stayed with me ever since that diagnosis. That was in 2021. so often ever since then, like every single step when I walk other people through their journeys, because I am oncology trained and certified now. I did that through my chemotherapy treatments. I walk people through and I give them that same advice, like just always protect your joy, because our joy doesn't come from our circumstances. If you can protect that joy, then there's always something on the other side. Because no matter what we're going through, there's always an after. When I look at faith and I look at scripture and I look at all of the stories, the 40 days in the wilderness, the great flood, 40 years in the wilderness, 40 days of rain, there's always the after. And what's the after? It's the hope. There's always something after the trials, the tribulations. There's always in those trials we can know that God has something better and He's going to bring us through them stronger. And there's always an open door at the end that's going to be brighter, and it's going to just have something so abundant that we don't even know what He has in store. We think we're in the thick of it when we're going through the thick of it, but He has the big picture. And I always think of a puzzle, right? I think of my life as a puzzle. I'm writing right now, like all these stories in my life. And when I was a child, I didn't really know him. I believed, but I didn't know him. And I think of my story as all these puzzle pieces. And God had the box with the picture on it. And all I had was the chaos of all of the pieces. And I didn't know how they fit together. And it wasn't until I found Jesus to make the frame. And then it seemed to start to make a little bit more sense and a little bit more sense. And then you could put those pieces together in little clusters. And then when you look back on your life and you can go, oh, okay, if I didn't experience this, it wouldn't have brought me to this. And that brought me to this. And now I have this. And in all of that, His light shines through. And what greater blessing is there than that?
We can stop now. It's beautiful. Oh, and my first vision came into my mind that my daughter, we had a loss in our life, and she lost her son, her baby son. And so what we do, we would all get together and just be there for each other to comfort each other. And we did puzzle after puzzle after puzzle. And we're not talking like a little dinky puzzle, we're talking the big ones. So the visual that just went into my mind was how profound to take such a simple thing that people do all the time and maybe take it for granted and really put it into an everyday situation, to how we can see those puzzle pieces coming together. You find the four corners, and then just like you said, you build a frame, and God, Jesus has got the picture that we just need to follow. And how silly for us not to even go down that road and think we could possibly do it on our own. It would be so much more difficult. And what a beautiful story for you to go from what turned out to be, I'm sure, the most impactful call of your life, and turn it into His glory, and to see His foot in all of this and the steps that you're taking. And going back for a moment to what actually led you into your career, your aesthetics, and ultimately creating your spa. Was there a defining moment, Jayme, that you realized that this would be more than skincare?
So I've been doing aesthetics for 9 years, and I got started because I wanted to help my kids navigate acne in high school, and I didn't want to age. I am vain. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I want to age backwards like a lot of us. And so it was a vanity thing, and I love blessing people. I love the fashion industry, the beauty industry. I love it. But that's what it was. It was about helping women be more confident in their own skin, all of that. And then when I got my diagnosis, it became larger. My original degrees were in psychology and therapeutic recreation. So I've always been about blessing people, right? Working with kids with disabilities, youth at risk, all of that before I had my twins. And then kids change everything. So I became a stay-at-home mom. And then as they aged, my husband said, "What are you going to do when the kids graduate?" And I was like, "I either want to be a helicopter pilot or an esthetician." He said, "You're not being a helicopter pilot." And I was like, "Okay, then I'm going to do this." When I got my diagnosis, I get to put in the therapeutic recreation, I get to put in the psychology, and I get to put in my hands. And when I have any client, but especially my oncology clients on my table, I feel like I pray with my clients if they allow me to. I ask them, of course, but if they allow me to, I pray with them. I have a prayer box in my office where if they would like that in their consultation, they can write out a prayer card. I pray over those. I feel like I just ask God to let His love come through my hands on the table in my treatment rooms. And that's what I aim for, is just that His love is shown to each and every client. And if I can do that in some way and everybody leaves here feeling a little more love, a little lighter, and if they look better too, all the better, right? And yes, I use different skincare for my oncology clients than I do for others because obviously they have different needs, but it's really about treating every person the way that I feel like Jesus would treat them, no matter what their background is, no matter how they come in here. Some people will laugh, some people will cry. All the emotions come out in the treatment room. And that's what is so therapeutic about it.
So clearly, it's more than just about getting a facial. And I don't mean to sound lackadaisical when I say that, but obviously, you're taking it to a new level and again, being led by what God tells you to do. And you specifically talk about reframing your obstacles as assignments. I love the word assignments and clearly not setbacks, but how did that mindset show up for you during those moments, especially when you were in those harder seasons? Obviously, you are able to see that in a way you may not have been able to see that in the time that you were dealing with it, or did clarity come later? How did that work out for you when you got that diagnosis?
Clarity came before I knew for sure, actually. Like I said, going across that bridge, I was like, I wasn't afraid. Everybody is always like, "I'm sure you had fear." I really didn't, because I just had faith. And I always say fear is false evidence appearing real. I just, I'm not a fearful person. I'm like, if I have a fear of something, I'm going to face it head on. The exception is snakes in Florida. I'm like, I'm working on that one, but that's also biblical. I claim that. When I was going across the bridge, and I just said that if this is my journey, just use me. And he was so faithful with that. And yeah, there were times I didn't feel well and it was exhausting. I definitely don't wish it on anybody. But when you're getting to see, really, I felt like I was seeing the face of God. I felt like I was being wrapped up in his arms and like I was sitting on my heavenly daddy's lap so often. And there was this intimacy that I had never felt before. I had felt his love, but instant answer to prayers. These moments, I mean, I wouldn't miss church. I would have chemo on Thursday. I would be at church on Sunday and the next Sunday and the next Sunday. And there was a time when my daughter came home from college and we went to church on Sunday morning and I was having a hard day. We sat at the back so that I could go out to the restroom if I needed to. And I was weak. I was really weak that day. And I couldn't stand up for worship. And we're at the back of Bayside and I'm sitting down and my daughter put her hand on my back and I was praying and I was like, Lord, please just give me the strength to be able to worship you and to focus on the words you have for me today. And then I can be sick later. Just let me focus on you. And instantly, I got strength. In his strength, we are healed, right? And instantly, the weakness went away. Any ill feelings I had went away, and I was able to stand up, dance, worship, sing. And come to find out on the way home, my daughter said she was praying the same prayer for me at the same time. So where two or more are gathered, those instant answers to prayer. I would be going on walks with my girlfriends through Adventure Park, a place here in Lakewood Ranch, and I love wildlife. It's one of my favorite things about living in Florida is just the wildlife that we see here. It's just amazing to me. And God knows that, right? He knows what is in our hearts. And
Let me just interrupt, just not the snakes.
right. I would specifically pray that too. Lord, please let the park come alive for me today. Let me see all the wildlife, but please keep the snakes away. And and truly it was so funny because he would bring, I have a really serious connection to hawks. They remind me of my biological daddy who passed when I was 21. And he would have a hawk. Literally one day, a hawk flew 5 feet in front of my face, perched right in a tree next to me, and stayed there for me to take a picture, turned to the side, puffed out his chest, totally like my biological father would have done. Like, you have no idea. Like, yeah. So anyway, and he would make this park come alive with woodpeckers. There was a woodpecker that played hide and seek behind this tree, would fly to another tree and do the same thing. I felt like Snow White. Like, it was ridiculous, but it was like childlike joy that I would have walking in this park, seeing the woodpeckers, the cardinals, the gators. And yeah, I'm not afraid of gators. I think they're majestic, and turtles, and just amazing wildlife just come to life in this park. Bald eagles, just amazing things that I would be like, Lord, I could really use just your creation coming to life for me this morning on my walk. And he would do it. And how could I not be protecting my joy when he was just answering my prayers in such bold and dynamic ways like that? And he started doing that long before I got my diagnosis. He did that just to move me to Florida. He answered such bold prayers like, if we're supposed to move to Florida, do this. And he would answer, if we're supposed to move to Florida, then do this. Because, the first answer wasn't enough. And all of these things. And 3 months after we moved here is when I got my diagnosis. So he moved us here so I would have a fresh set of eyes and doctors so that they would find the cancer early. And I was looking for how to take care of my skin during my cancer when I found the surgeons that I'm now in their med spa. These were divine interventions. These were not by coincidences or mistakes or just by chance. No one will ever convince me that they're by anything other than divine intervention. Everything happens for a reason, and it's all to fit into his puzzle, his picture on the box.
So profound, so deep. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I'm so glad that you decided to say yes. Oh my goodness. This episode is brought to you by Fearlessly Debt Free. Do you have great income, but the debt just doesn't seem to be going down fast enough? Just know that you are not alone. At Fearlessly Debt Free, I help people just like you pay everything off. Credit cards, loans, even mortgages, in half to a third of the time, for half to a third of what you owe. And no, this isn't budgeting, it's not debt consolidation or bankruptcy. It's math, it's strategy, and it's automatic. And it works. How would it feel to be completely debt free and to start building incredible wealth much, much faster? Schedule your free Debt to Wealth discovery call today at fearlessly.free.com and take your next steps fearlessly. So we're going to transition over, and not to say that we couldn't talk about this for days, not even hours, but for days, because I am right there with you. I feel the same. It's intentional. God has a plan. He has a track for us to run on. We might want to try to do it ourselves, but for you to be just so in the moment in that nature, minus the snakes, of course, and to be aware of it, you have to ask yourself the question, like, how many people maybe take those same walks, but whether they're praying for it or not, don't see the beauty around them. And I just love that your intention is so pure and it's amazing. So we're going to transition over to physically what you do in your spa. And I know that you say that your treatments, they go much beyond the surface and they work at your cellular level. Can you share what that means to somebody who might not be familiar with that looks like for them?
So I do a lot of different services here. The products that I use are Environ Skincare, and I use sonophoresis and iontophoresis to drive the ingredients down into the dermis. It ionizes the serums, which just means that it makes it more penetrable. And then it opens up the cells in the dermis so that they can be utilized better. So that's one of the things that I do during facials. Then I also do microneedling. Now that I have a medical director in here, that is fantastic. I can also do cryo. So I have a cryo sculpting machine, so I can do cryo facials. I just added cryo to the end of a microneedling for the first time last week, and it was amazing. I just followed up with that client to see how much of a difference that made. She's been doing microneedling, but now she did cryo at the end of it, and she's my neck. The difference in my neck is profound. So I love that because what happens with the cryo is it stimulates more collagen and elastin. So the micro needling and micro channeling, I do both of those. They create little channels in your skin so that the ingredients can go down deeper. But also what it does is it creates your body's natural way to heal itself. So it's natural. I don't do Botox. I don't do fillers. I am very much about using your body's natural means to stimulate its own ways to create more collagen, create more hyaluronic on its own, create more elastin and all of its own. We're built in his image. We have everything we need. We just need to eat the right things, fuel our bodies, and put the right ingredients in. With Environ, it's really built on vitamin A, but it's not a retinol. Retinol can make our skin much more sensitive to the sun. This is a retinol palmitate and retinol propionate. So it's a vitamin A that's encapsulated in a lipid. So it goes deeper into the skin before it releases to be used. So it actually makes your skin more sun resistant and less sensitive to the sun. And if you use it for long enough, it can actually make your skin have an SPF of 20 naturally. And it does a step up program. So you start low and then you build up, combines vitamin A, C, and E together. So it lightens, tightens, brightens, and they all work together to really symbiotically help each other work better and recycle each other. And then the antioxidants and the peptides, of course, that we all hear about. And he uses neuropeptides. So they tell your skin not to fold. And so that prevents future lines. And then it softens existing lines as well. And then there's all kinds of things that you can do to help other things, such as the filler creams that help build your own hyaluronic. So it teaches your skin to start producing more of its own hyaluronic, because as we age, we produce less and less hyaluronic, which is why sometimes you start to see people's skin kind of divot a little bit. So that's where we are with that. Cryo, on the other hand, if we start to see a little bit of sagging here in the jowls, we can do, no, we can do cryo here, as well as some cream here to help reduce the fat and tighten the skin. So a combination, same thing with double chin. So I have some pictures of before and after a cryofacial. Amazing. We can sculpt, so we can make people look like they have higher cheekbones, and we can soften fine lines and wrinkles. So we can decrease inflammation. A lot of times when we have the fine lines and wrinkles, especially in the forehead and the lines here, it's inflammation. So the cryo reduces inflammation, but it can also reduce fat. So we don't want to reduce fat anywhere here, but sometimes here and here we do. But also the cryo, it stimulates collagen. So that cryo sculpting can also do body sculpting. So we can reduce fat in specific places where you might not be able to spot reduce fat at a gym or with diet and exercise specifically. But if you have those specific problem areas, that's where I'm your girl. Take care of that.
And I will be making my appointment. So I know that there are many, many, many spas. There are so many different places that are popping up all over. And clearly, you do something that's a little bit different for your clients and give them that top-notch service. If somebody's coming to you, and please understand, I know this is such a general question and everybody is independent, but on average, we'll just, average it out there. What could somebody expect as far as coming to you with a specific issue? Let's just say it is the jowls or the neck tightening. What is the typical protocol for them to expect? How long it may take for them to see the results?
So it really depends on a couple of things. What treatment they decide to go with, because I have multiple different treatments. You can do microneedling, you can do cryotherapy, you can do, and I always recommend home treatments, because home care is 90% of how your skin looks on a day-to-day basis, right? If you're going to spend $1,000 on multiple different treatments here and you're not going to take care of it at home, really you're throwing money away, because you're going to be back here in 6 months, right? Because you need that nutrients on your skin. You need to be wearing SPF. Now, I recommend zinc-based SPF, right? I don't recommend the chemicals. Again, I'm very, very much about holistic skincare as much as possible. And I want people to really take care of themselves holistically. I'm very honest with people. If people come in here and they have something going on, I'm going to tell them, yes, I can take care of it this way, or I can take care of it this way. This way is going to take longer, but you're going to have better results in the long run. This way, I can take care of it today, but it's probably going to come back a little bit at a time in 3 years, and you're going to need to retreat it. For instance, I can take care of pigmentation, right? Sunspots instantly. I have a cryo device, not the cryo sculpting device, but a different cryo device that can pull pigmentation out, and it'll be gone in 2 to 4 weeks. But if you keep going out in the sun, you have old damage, right? Pigmentation takes up to 20 years to actually come to the surface of your skin to be seen. So if you were like me and in the 80s, we were out there putting baby oil on, getting as tan as we can, and we didn't know how bad it was for us. Then we have pigmentation that comes up. I can get rid of it, but that old sun damage is still coming to the surface. So I always recommend, you know what, here's some other things that we can still be doing to lighten the stuff that's still going to be coming up. So cryosculpting, I tell them, how much do you want to take off? 4 to 7 treatments is the average it takes to get down to where you want, but it's not a weight loss program. I give people what they should do before. I give people a list of what they should do after and between their treatments and how often they should be coming in. I just had a gal come back in after her first treatment. She came back in for her second. She lost an inch around her midsection. I was so thrilled for her. And she was thrilled. She was like, I don't know if I've lost anything. I'm like, let's do our measurements. I'm like, and I am not one of those people that gives false measurements. Like I'm like, here, see, and we're marking, I'm taking a picture of where I measure so that we can make sure that we're measuring the same spot and all of that so that there's no fudging any documentation. I've worked at places that do that when I first got out of esthetician school. And so I'm very much about honesty and integrity. And that's the other difference when you go to a reputable company versus someplace that may not be.
Talking about industry, the way that we're talking about all these different places, they're always evolving. And especially in the skincare and the beauty industry, there's always new advancements, new, like you just said, the cryo and the vitamin A's that are a little different than what they were previously. So, how do you personally stay at the forefront knowing you just started partnering with a doctor? So, that probably lifts you up a little bit with what you're capable of presenting to your clients. But is there a time that you feel like you're not keeping up, or do you have the education and the new information coming your way that you can be in a place where you can offer your clients everything that's new and improved, so to speak?
It's kind of a catch 22. So new and improved isn't always better, right? I have this mentality of, yes, I will look at everything, but the newest isn't always the best. Like vitamin A. Vitamin A is tried and true, and we know that it works, but there's always these new fandangled things out there, right? That people want to say, oh, we need this, like exosomes, for instance. That's a big key word that's out there that we hear a lot about right now. And I started digging and started doing some research on exosomes because I had somebody offer them to me at a really good price. And so I started doing some research, and you can put exosomes on the surface after microneedling. Well, come to find out, exosomes are biologicals and they're stem cells. And stem cells, we hear all these great things about what stem cells can do, and they can do some really great things. However, they can also alter DNA and they can cause abnormal cell growth, and that can lead to tumors. And so I said, nope, not doing it. Not going to risk, especially with the clientele. It doesn't fit my mission statement. I'm not saying that they're all bad, and I'm not saying that there isn't a place for them. They're not FDA approved, and I'm not even one that totally jumps on board with all things FDA. Okay, so I'll put that out there. But I am one that I want to be safe for my clients. And anything that can cause abnormal cell growth for me as a cancer survivor and thriver, and one that takes care of oncology clients, I'm never going to put anything on my clients that could possibly cause harm. And so that was a hard no for me. The other thing that I am doing, though, that is fashion forward, as we used to say in the jewelry business, is that I'm offering memberships and package deals. And so I changed my whole credit card processing, my appointment processing thing. And you know how that is when you change technology. It is a whole learning process. But when I changed locations, I said, you know what? If I'm changing, I might as well go for everything. And I changed that because I want to make sure that people that are coming to me have the best opportunity to do it, to get the best results and cost effective. So that's why I'm offering different memberships and different packages available to people for microneedling, for cryo sculpting, even for facial programs. I've had some of my very good clients ask me, so do you have a package or a membership for this? And I'm like, I don't, but we can create one. It's about my clients. This is about making them feel as loved as I truly feel about them because that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. And that's what this whole spa is here for. Not just Tranquil Oasis, but there are other business owners within this med spa. We all care about the individual clients that come in here. We have hair restoration in here, hair regeneration. Dr. Van Vliet does surgery for, he's the plastic surgeon. He does reconstruction for breast surgeries, but he also does burn victims, like flesh eating bacteria. He saved a woman from a dog bite that she almost died 48 hours after getting bit by a dog here in Florida. So, burn victims, they lose their hair, so they have hair regeneration. There's just everybody here just cares about people. And that's what we're about.
So when you get to the point where you're specifically talking about one or two clients and just your stories on a general scheme of there are so many great things that you all offer to not only just help with a situation, but clearly it's much deeper than that. Have you witnessed a moment where someone came in, maybe they were focused on their skin or they're the burn victim or something like that, but then also left not only with a solution, but a renewed sense of confidence or even the joy that you talk about?
So I have a lot of clients that call me their skin therapist because they're like, I get my facial for free because I just come here for my therapy. I do have a degree in psychology. Everybody leaves here for the most part feeling like their skin is glowing. They look so much better. I don't have any clients that I can think of that go, oh, I wish I wouldn't have gotten that treatment. That's why I love what I do, right? I know so many people that hate their job. And I talked to my husband, and my husband he runs a collision center. He meets people on their worst day. They had an accident. They're dealing with insurance companies. They have their worst day. So he doesn't deal with happy people. I'm like, poor you. You picked a horrible career field. I feel bad for him because I have the best job, the best career field on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. I deal with people that want to be here. And whether they're here and I'm crying with them or we're laughing together, I'm here because I want to be here and they want to be here. They're getting better skin, they're getting loved on, and they leave here smiling. So that's the bottom line.
And you do, you give so much to all of your clients. So when that happens, and I know what your answer might be, but how do you personally protect your joy while you're doing so much pouring into others each and every day?
I don't really have to protect my joy because it brings me so much joy. It just brings me so much joy. I'm tired at the end of the day, but it just brings me so much. Having fun is exhausting sometimes.
It seems like it's ridiculous to even say, but you're right.
Yeah.
And it is a choice. I do feel bad for your husband because I can only imagine, but I feel too that you two are together for a reason. So you can remind him how maybe he can take a day that's not so fun and full of joy like you do, and you can remind him that you can find good spots in all of that. So, looking back, I love to say looking back because I find that a lot of people that I talk to, when I ask them, like, what did you do when you were a little person? Or what were some of the things that brought you joy? And then they compare it to where they are today. There's a lot of things that line up. So, when you look back from where you were to where you are today, building your Tranquil Oasis, what would you say has been one of your either biggest, boldest moves, or maybe something that you can see back then that you're doing today that brings you the joy?
Wow, that's a deep question. So I was just my little spa in my home, sitting in my comfort zone. When my kids were in high school in Colorado, I had my in-home spa and I was comfortable there. I made my own schedule. People came and went. It was comfortable. And then through my cancer journey, I would have clients scattered here and there in my home. That was a necessity. It didn't work very much during that time, of course. And then my daughter moved back home, pregnant, going through a divorce, and she needed that room for her nursery. And that pushed me outside of the house to get in a brick and mortar. And that pushed me outside of my comfort zone. But I feel like also God was saying, it's time to get out of your house and outside of your comfort zone. And when I first moved here, God gave me a vision of what my business was going to be here in Florida. But it was before I got my diagnosis. And that vision still isn't complete. My vision is to have a full treatment center, retreat center. I feel like that will happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I feel like I'm on track for that. I was in that spot, and this was another God moment because I reached out to Dr. Van Vliet to be my medical director for the cryo sculpting machine, and he invited me into his med spa to help organize it. And here I am next to Dr. Imrani, who is my breast oncology surgeon. And I love her. And the more people I can bless, then I feel like the more God is going to bless everyone involved.
Excellent. And for those listening who feel drawn to your approach and your care, and clearly there's a difference, where can they find you and experience what you offer at Tranquil Oasis Spa?
So I'm at 1720 Manatee Avenue East in Bradenton, Florida.
Jayme, this has been such a beautiful conversation. I am so grateful that we had this time together and that I got to meet you in this way. And to everybody listening, thank you for being here with us on Big Bold Moves Abundant Life, where we make those big bold moves to allow you to live a truly abundant life.
Into power and fight. From paycheck to purpose, we rise above. This is your moment. It starts with self-love. Big bold moves, abundant life. Fearlessly debt-free, step into the light. One decision away.